What's up, Brooklyn Squad? How it do, everybody? How is everybody doing? Hold on, let me just check Instagram. Ah, all right. Instagram is on. Instagram is on, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Okay. All right. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram because this needs to be broadcast everywhere. Okay. When I saw this, shout out to Lovely T. I was like, wait, hold up. I hear myself a lot. Let me just close some of these tabs. Oops. I don't want to go there. All right. I think we could. Do I hear myself again? All right. So what it do, Brooklyn Squad? What's going on? Y'all, I would love to come on here and say, oh, I hear myself again. I don't like that. What's going on? What's going on? Let me, hold on. Okay. I would love to come on here and give y'all some good news. But that's not the case, right? Because the case is on this channel, it's a true crime channel, but sometimes we do get some good news. We get some good updates. Why do I hear myself again? I don't like that. Okay, that's what it was. I had myself on Instagram. I was trying to see something, but I'm still live on there, so that's good. So basically, I saw something that Lovely T had posted, right? And I was like, excuse me, say what? So shout out to Lovely T for posting that, right? Is she gonna go live about it? I don't know. I hope she does. But check this out. I'm gonna go live about this. Wealthy white couple allegedly kept a black adopted children as slaves locked up in their barn. We talked about we just had Junith, right? We just talked about how Kendrick Lamar did his thing, right? We also talked about how we are sick and tired of being slaves, right? We also talked about how CPS has always and probably will always fail these parents. So I'm gonna just get into the case. I want y'all to buckle up. I'm gonna need y'all to share this video. Please hit the like button so that it could go in the algorithm and other people could see it and might do wanna do a live on the topic because this shit needs to more people need to talk about this. Like this is crazy. You got a foster family who adopted not one black child, not two black child, but multiple black children adopted multiple black. First of all, let's get into adoption. Let's get into adoption. What are the requirements for adoption? Let's talk about that first. And probably every state is different, but it said You submit an application, a medical history information, complete a national and state criminal background check, complete a check by the New York statewide General Register of Child Abuse, Maltreatment, complete the home study process, attend agency sponsored training. Okay. To me, that's not enough. To me, that's not enough. What are the requirements to adopt a child in the USA? You must be a USA citizen, first of all. You are unmarried. You must be at least 25 years old. Okay. If you are married, you must jointly adopt the child, even if you are separated but not divorced. And your spouse must also be either a USA citizen or legal state in the US state. So they got some requirements on that. Okay, you basically got to be in a goddamn relationship if you're going to adopt a child, which I think is bullshit. So we went through that process, right? So now let's get into it. We have a wealthy white couple, right? That adopts some black children. And instead of treating them, love them, nurturing them, they decided to keep them as slaves, lock them up in their barn. I'm going to show you something. And I'm going to tell you why the family has failed them because of this. Check this out. I'm going to read this to you. You know what? No. I'm going to read this to you and then I'm going to show you the video. A wealthy white West Virginia couple forced their adopted black children to work as slaves and slept in a barn, according to disturbing charges. So they adopted them, and instead of them sleeping in a bed, in their own bedroom, or at least sharing a bedroom with somebody, they put them in a barn. Donald Ray Lantz, 63 years old, and his wife Jeanne Kay Whitefeather, 62 years old, pleaded not guilty to more than a dozen new charges on Tuesday. Now, this is just yesterday, guys. So this is new, okay? After their two teens, adopted teens, were found locked, crumbled shed with ratted clothes ripped up. Lantz and his wife were first arrested back in October. This is where the system failed them. Check this out. They were first arrested back in October after a wellness check led to the discovery of the couple's 5 adopted children, aged 6, 9, 11, 14, and 16, living in horrible, horrific conditions in the other property. The indictment, which Cambridge County Circle Judge Claire Eckers said was one of the worst she's ever seen, alleges that the adopted children were forced to work on the couple's farm because of their race. So why the fuck did you give them more children? Why did you give them more children? And why didn't you take those children away from them? Y'all failed. And this is when I say we need to have a discussion about CPS trafficking kids. This is disgusting. This is literally disgusting. Hey, Katie. Please hit the like button when y'all come in. Thank you. And also, please share this video. This is disgusting. And let me tell you something. It happens a lot. And the fact that CPS had already arrested them back in October, you arrested them and charged them with neglect. And yeah, even the judge said this was the most horrific crime he's ever seen. So why the fuck did y'all give them more kids to adopt? Y'all messed up. I would be pressing charges on the whole state and the judge if I was these parents. But let's get into a YouTube video that I did not see because I stopped it and I wanted to go live with you guys. Let's get into it. And are we still surprised about this? Are we still? I'm disgusted with it. That's what I am, disgusted.
Like the one we're bringing you tonight. We begin with a case out of West Virginia. Jeanne Whitefeather and Donald Lantz, a white couple, are accused of treating their 5 adopted children like slaves. We know for sure 3 are black, according to the indictment. Prosecutors say the children were also targeted and adopted because of their race. The pair was arrested last fall. This was after a wellness check turned into a reveal about the living conditions of the children. 2 of the children, 14 and 16 years old, were found living in a barn outside. Neighbors tipped law enforcement off. Deputies discovered there were limited resources in that barn. The teens only had a small porta potty, no running water, or a mattress. According to neighbors, the children were not allowed inside of the home, the main house, and had to do farm labor outside instead. Whitefeather denies the allegations and says the barn was simply a teenage clubhouse. Both Whitefeather and Lantz are now behind bars as they wait for a trial to begin September 9th. Joining us to talk about it here on The Factor Uncensored, we have with us parent David Settles, Todd Smith, the CEO of Regal Media, and trauma therapist Chow Nguyen. Glad to have you all on The Factor Uncensored. So, David, first of all, as a parent hearing this story, and we have learned that the judge admonished them in court in another hearing saying, I have never in my life seen anything like this. Your bond was $200,000, come back. It is now $500,000 each.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the judge did the right thing by increasing the bond. But as a parent, absolutely, it's downright deplorable, right? It's not even just disgusting, but it's purely evil at this.
What bond? Why do they have to get bond? I'm so fucking sick and tired of these judges putting out a bond. Why do they get a bond? I guess that is the state law. You have to give some type of bond depending on the circumstances. But these kids were treated like slaves. What clubhouse? What, they thought that this was playtime for them? You had these kids on a fucking farm the last time, on a farm. Well, why don't we just go ahead and now pick it up cotton now? Why don't we pick up the cotton now? Go ahead now. Just go ahead and pick it on now. Pick it on down the road now. What the fuck is going on? They don't work for you. Would you have your little white ducklings on the damn farm? Chuckled up in handcuffs? Chuckled up in ropes? Would you? With their clothes, rat-shedded clothes ripped up? It's not their first offense. I just read it. In October, and let's go back and read that, they were charged with the worstest neglect that the judge said. This is not their first offense. I will go back and read that. Matter of fact, I will go back and show that after the video.
This point, right? And but to go back to the point about them raising the bond, people have been talking about the foster care system and adoption regulations and things like that. Chances are there wasn't an adoption agency or any foster care system involved in this case because they raised the bond with allegations of like human trafficking. So we don't even know how these kids ended up in their care in the first place.
We do know they were adopted or they received their custody in Washington State and then moved to West Virginia. Were people wise? Were people getting concerned about what they saw in Washington and that's why they moved to West Virginia? That's a question we still have to explore.
Two things come to mind. The child welfare system, which is an institution that really needs some serious reform. There was talk about defunding the CPS and foster care system. It's not there to protect the children in cases like this. That's a whole other issue. The institutions that are meant to support children can sometimes hurt them. And the other thing I think about is the trauma that's instilled on these kids for a lifetime. We talk about something called adverse childhood experiences, neglect, abuse, poverty, unhealthy sanitary conditions, poor parenting. Those are things that can affect those children for a lifetime, that can create PTSD, anxiety, depression, poor relationships, poor jobs, crime. Those are very serious outcomes for.
Look at the picture. Look how they had them kids. And she is so right. These kids would be traumatized forever. And let's not forget, I'm glad she said poor relationships, because a lot of times relationships with survivors that once was victims don't work out so well because they have been traumatized so freaking much. They don't know what a healthy relationship is. And I'm telling you that because I have that problem. I had that problem at one time, but I had PTSD, anxiety, depression. I had poor relationship. It took me a long time to build it with Dave. It took years and years, but she is so right. I'm so glad she pointed that out. So glad.
For those children.
And Todd, we've heard that the 16-year-old boy in this case reeked and had sores on his feet. It was so bad the neighbors could smell it.
It just, if you look at the images, it looked like an old school plantation. The shed, the barn looked like a slave shack. It's just, like David said, it's just evil. And to think in 2024, you still have people who see Black people and children at that as property, just to use for their own purposes and stuff like that. The only way to describe it is evil. This is for the first time in my being on this show, I'm just flabbergasted. I have really nothing to say about how this is, but this is why we should take racism seriously. This is why when people talk about certain things, we should listen to them, because it's so easy to fall back into the trap of yesteryear when things happen that were this atrocious. You know what I mean? People would do evil things to innocent people. So we have to really be careful about the race relations in this country and stuff like that. And so we won't fall back into that trap again.
And of course, we heard from the judge and prosecutors that these kids were targeted because of their race. This is why those parents went after them.
So that's why we need to take a serious look at the child welfare system.
Right.
We don't know what happened to these kids, but did you know that only 15% of all cases in which children are taken away from their parents involve physical violence? A lot of them involve neglect. We're talking about maybe there's not enough food at the table, maybe they weren't clothed properly, maybe mom or dad had an addiction problem, things that stem from trauma. If we can address keeping families together and address things like poverty and prosperity and economic prosperity, maybe we can keep families together so we don't see these situations. Something has to seriously be done about that institution.
And we're hearing that they also sold a $700,000 ranch and a $200,000 house, I think,
The house
as
that
well.
that they were in.
Yeah, I heard they were wealthy. These people were living wealthy. But yet they had the nerve to treat these poor children like slaves. And let's go back. What the fuck? Why is this phone slip? This phone is slippery. I lost my thing was broken, the case. So the phone is falling everywhere. I don't want Dave to wake up. And let's go back to the neighbors. So the neighbors did know something. He just said, the neighbors said that the smell was so bad. So why didn't you report this a long time ago? Why didn't the neighbors report this a long time ago? Y'all knew what was going on. Y'all saw what was going on. Or did y'all have a piece of this as well? And that's why y'all did not fucking report this. Shame on you. Allegedly. Shame on you. Your asses, whoever you are, I think, listen, y'all can't tell me that the neighbors didn't know what was going on, because the neighbors had already said that the smell was so rough or so horrible. So if you smelled those kids and you saw what was happening to those babies, why the hell didn't you report them? You the damn problem too, because you don't stand up and say nothing. You stay quiet unless you was getting a piece of the pie also, you fucking animals.
And many prosecutors are questioning how they were able to get that money, whether those kids played a role in forced labor to pay for those things.
I mean, we don't know, but it would seem so. Like they had no source of income that the judge knew about. So how are you making this type of money? They're enslaving people.
Yeah.
You know, they're trafficking kids. You know, they think it's 1824, not 2024. And like Chow said, we have to start at the root and fix some of the problems that people are having that lead to this situation, because there's no child that should be. These kids are going to be traumatized for life. And the excuses that they use, oh, it was a clubhouse. When I was a teenager, I didn't want nothing to do with a clubhouse. I wanted to hang out with my friends and do normal things. That's elementary stuff. And the fact that the cops had to pry the door open. If that's a clubhouse, why can't they come and go?
Right.
I have friends that have clubhouses for their children. They can come and go as they please. So all of that is nonsense. They are enslaving people. And I've mentioned this before on this show. People think slavery ended in 1865 through convict leasing and other things. Black people have always had to deal with the possibility of being enslaved again. And now in 2024, we have kids having to go through things that my ancestors went through, and it's horrifying.
Last 30 seconds.
14% of this country is a black population, yet 25% of all kids in the child welfare system are black. There's a serious racism problem in the foster care and the child welfare system.
All right. We want to thank you all for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. We could go on and on tonight about this, but we're out of time. Still.
Yeah, out of time, but I'm not. I want to show you something also. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna go back.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned as we attempt to commune with the devil.
Sold a $700,000.
Okay, so it must be this one. Yeah, this one. So I'm gonna pause that and I'm gonna show everybody actually, not just show y'all what it said right here. Lantz and Whitefeather. Let me make sure y'all can see this. Can y'all see this? Okay, let's go. Lantz and Whitefeathers, where it says right here down below, y'all. Check this out. Reality force. The third paragraph. Lantz and Whitefeathers were first arrested in October after a wellness check led to the discovery of the couple's 5 adopted children, ages 6, 9, 11, 14, and 16, living in deplorable conditions on the Sisville property. The indictments, which Kanawha County Circuit Judge Mayclair said one of the worst she's ever seen, alleged that the adopted children were forced to work on couple farms because of their race. So it says right here, back in October, after a wellness check led to discovery of the couple's 5 adopted children. 5 adopted children. Okay? But you know what? They wasn't charged. Why wasn't they charged? But they went to the judge. She said this was the worst case. No, they was charged. It says, okay, Les were first arrested in October. Yeah, I'm not bugging. After a wellness check. So this is not their first case. They were first arrested in October. Why the hell did you give them bond? And why the hell do they even have the certificate of adopting kids still? Why are they a foster care agency still? Like, why are they fucking a foster family? Why aren't they ripped of that title? Because y'all motherfuckers are working together to traffic the kids. That's why. Stop playing in our freaking face. Stop playing in our freaking face. Like we don't know what's going on. That's what I'm saying, Katie. Why were they given, say it again, why were they given another chance and more time to continue these things? Say it again, Katie, for the people in the back that probably don't fucking understand English. Just in case. I know these stomach, I'm so goddamn mad. Why? Because this is involved. That's why. Money is involved. That's why. That's why. Moolah. Moolah. That's why. Oh, boy. This just happened yesterday. So we're gonna keep going. We're gonna continue to follow up with this case. We're gonna continue to follow up with this case. This is Wednesday. This has happened yesterday. So this is I'm just disgusted with this. Tomorrow, I have an interview with a mother. Her daughter, Brooklyn Webb, has been missing since June 11th. She is in fear that her daughter might be a victim of human trafficking, allegedly. So please join us tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. right here on Brooklyn Squad, Real Life Drama, where we will dive in to the case of human trafficking, and we will hear a mother's plead for help to look for her daughter and try to spread more awareness of it. Okay? So that is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay? Please join. Until then, share this video, give it a like, and I will see y'all tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. Come show support for a grieving mother who's desperately, and I'm going to say desperately, wants to find her daughter. We already know that human trafficking is one of the biggest $1,000,000 businesses. And I hate to say business, but it is. And a lot of these traffickers, they find these beautiful young girls vulnerable, and they find them on the internet, or they find them in a grocery store, or they even find them in the library. They find them at the gym. There's so many places, you know, but a lot of them is on the internet. So this mother just wants to plead and bring her daughter home. She's going to share a little bit about her story with her daughter. And we're just going to be here to listen to her and support her. You guys can ask her any questions you want after the interview. That's that, okay? So I will see y'all tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. Please share this video, and much love for everybody. Thank you. Have a blessed night.